All right, let me take you back to ENCA's Mangoba Mchunu, who is reporting on the postponement of the case against former crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli and his co-accused. Mangoba, I had asked you earlier on to tell us about the reasons for this latest postponement.
Well, Tulas, we do understand that the postponement was due to the fact that this matter will now be moved to the High Court. You'll recall that it has been here before the Specialized Crimes Court in Pretoria. That's where the previous hearings were heard by the magistrate here, Magistrate van Wyk, with regards to the charges that have been laid against Richard Mdluli and his two other co-accused, the former chief financial officer in the Secret Services, Mr. Solomon Lazarus, as well as Haine Barnard, who is the former head of procurement in that department. So the allegations that they face to us relate to activities that happened between 2009 as well as 2011, which include the abuse and looting of the Secret Service. But what we do understand is that the matter will now be heard before the High Court. The NPA's investigative directorate saying that they are ready to proceed with trial, and they believe that they have a strong case in this matter, given the fact that some of those documents which had been previously classified have now been declassified, and in fact they've also been given to his lawyers to prepare for the trial, which is expected to resume when the matter goes to the High Court in February next year.
Just give us a recap, Mangoba, of what this case relates to. It's about the abuse of the Secret Service fund. What exactly is alleged to have happened?
Indeed, Tulas, the allegations are that between 2009 and 2011, that's when these activities occurred. And the allegation is that Richard Mdluli had used some of those funds from the Secret Service slush fund to actually pay for a set of vehicles, 5 vehicles, we do understand, as well as an overseas trip and security upgrades at his house. And we did hear, of course, the testimony of the Hawks investigator, Colonel Kobus of Rufus, I beg your pardon for that name, Tulas, Colonel Kobus Rufus, testifying before the state capture inquiry last year, revealing some of those activities, among them, of course, that he had bought himself a Mercedes-Benz, he had bought himself a BMW and a Lexus, among other things, as well as paid for several overseas trips for his family and himself, and also that there were security upgrades worth about 190,000 that were carried out at his home in KwaZulu-Natal in Kwambonambi. So those are some of the allegations that have been investigated. Of course, this matter was before the NPA back in 2011, but it was marred by several delays as well as a political interference. We did hear also from the testimonies of Glynis Breitenbach, as well as the Director of Public Prosecutions in North Gauteng, Sibongile Mzinyathi, when they testified before that Mohoro inquiry last year, detailing how the former National Director of Public Prosecutions, Lawrence Mkhwebi, had actually instructed that this matter be withdrawn. And the NPA saying that they've now managed to get those documents, or those declassified documents, and they're ready to go ahead with trial. They do believe that there's a case to answer when it comes to some of these allegations of abusing and looting the Secret Service.
Lastly and briefly, Mangoba, just to confirm, this is all happening, of course, this is a separate case from the other case in which Richard Mdluli is already serving time, right? That whole case that had to do with kidnapping and assault for which he was convicted.
Indeed, Tulas, and we did speak to his lawyer briefly, and what he did indicate is that they do plan to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal in order to appeal that decision, of course, which was handed down by the High Court last month. So he was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years for the charges of common assault and kidnapping Opa Ramokhibe, who was married to his traditional wife, Tsidi Buthelezi, at the time. And he has been found guilty of those charges, but he did say before the court during his sentence proceedings that, in fact, he did not believe that these charges warranted him to go behind bars, in fact, arguing that he should, in fact, receive community service, rather. But the court saying that he had to receive a custodial sentence due to the seriousness of the charges and also the issue of the abuse of power that he had demonstrated at the time when he committed these crimes. So we do understand that, Thulas, there is a plan to actually petition that decision by the High Court.
All right, thank you for that. ENCA's Mangoba Mchunu reporting for us there outside the Pretoria Magistrates Court on the case of Richard Mdluli. Good to see the long arm of the law finally catching up with someone who once seemed untouchable in this society. The long arm of the law finally reaching Richard Mdluli.